Welcome back. As you know, January 20th is MLK Day in our country. On that day, there are celebrations across our state so that we never forget the message of Dr. King. Our crew captured a local event last month. Let's take a look.
Reverend Jemison was the man who baptized me when I was 15 years old. I actually grew up in this church, going to pre-K and kindergarten, knocking out my 2 front teeth here. When I was a kid, he was a giant of a man, though he wasn't that tall in stature as I later grew up. But wonderful guy, real personable, always used to have great barrel candies on his desk that we as kids used to like to go and take a little bit of when we got a chance. Great guy, real personable. You see him out in the community, he'd introduce you as one of the best members of his church. To the community of Baton Rouge, of course, everybody knows about the bus boycott and how Jemison gave Martin Luther King the blueprint for that, which Montgomery was a bigger bus boycott. But it started here in Baton Rouge. But beyond that, Reverend Jemison was a real personable guy in that he would get out in the community and play softball with people. He would get out in the community and do the basketball thing. Just fun stuff that people like to do. I think he'd go to people's barbecues, and he knew how to be a regular person beyond a pastor. Another good thing about Reverend Jemison that a lot of people don't know is that he was a visionary and that he started an apartment community over on North 22nd Street, and people could have affordable housing, seniors could have a place to live. He also started a credit union. Mount Zion used to have a credit union to help people get funding to buy homes, buy cars, because back then a lot of banks wouldn't lend to black folks. And so he saw and filled needs in so many ways that other people, really didn't think about, and that's part of his legacy to this community.
Dr. Jemison recently passed away, and his legacy lives on. As you know, that Dr. King had a dream, but he had other people who was dreaming with him to help make his dream a reality. So we think those that have came right along and before Dr. King to make what we have as freedom a reality. But we have in the midst, they said Rosa Parks was the first to sit on the bus. We have the actual first person that boycotted the bus here in Baton Rouge with Dr. Jemison that refused to give up her seat to a white person because she was tired too. We have Martha White in our midst. Y'all give a hand for Miss White.
I was so worn out because that's what they trained me to do, to work and take care of myself. Don't depend on nobody but myself and treat myself right and everybody else. So I was worn out and I wanted that seat so bad because I couldn't sit down at the job. And I knew that. And I had to sit down a little bit. So I went and sit down, and I did not know that the Reverend Jemison had done what he had done. When I sit on that bus, we had a big problem, and the police came and going to put us in jail. And then Reverend Jemison came, and he said he couldn't do that. I wondered why they couldn't put us in jail, because I didn't know we could sit down from the front seat to the back seat. They had kept that a secret. But then we got able to not to go to jail because of the Reverend Jemison. And after that, then I said, I got too much pride now to ride that bus. I'm going to walk.
In regards to civil rights, Reverend Jemison really was a person who people trusted. I think that in the greater community of Baton Rouge, people knew they could get an honest answer from Reverend Jemison. They also knew Reverend Jemison wasn't about conflict or confusion. And so a lot of times when things needed to be discussed, they'd meet with Reverend Jemison and other leaders of the community here at Mount Zion or other places around Baton Rouge, with him included, because they really, really wanted to find the best ways not to have confusion, not to have conflict, and to come to the best solution for all involved.
In every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men, white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, We'll be able to join hands and sing in that old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we free at last.
Don't give up. Keep on fighting. Don't stay in the race. Keep struggling.
Martin Luther King Jr. was truly one of the most important figures in American history. We are going to step away for just a moment. When we return, we hope to inspire you with some spiritual music. Stay with us on Community LA.